So overall, I would say that we are the sum of substance of a budget is growth with fairness. Trust first and trust the taxpayer. At the same time, give enough stimulus in the economy for everyone to do it. Inculcate, encourage the entrepreneurial spirit. Whether it is local entrepreneurs, whether it is startups, whether plugging into the global value chain, whether it is talking of global capability center, we're all there. The thing is that you and me, it's not a question of you and me, it's we and we. We and we have to work it together into all this concretization of what we intend to do, put words into action, and I hope a lot more words into action will happen. I can assure you from the tax department side, I have never seen more brighter people than what I have in the RT. But I have an expectation which are raised. When we say we have to make it simpler, we have to be more friendlier, we have to be more practical. We are not we are we as Indians. And we must see that our procedures rank the best in the world.
Thank you so much. You beautifully explained the underlying theme of the budget and the work that has gone behind it, the holistic thinking of how the nation can benefit going forward with all the measures that have been announced. So we have some time, so we can take some questions. So I'll request, we have Mr. Uni Krishnan here from RMZ Corporation. Could I request you to raise your pen?
This question is for Sanjay. So in the entire budget, there was one retrospective amendment that we proposed. This is for a real estate sector, which provides commercial spaces for all the activities. So we are, I mean, when the GST was introduced, rentals were payable on, so GST was payable on rental services. So correspondingly, whatever we talk about rental services, raising the norms, those input taxes which we designed to do something else. So this matter was a couple of locations in that. Then subsequently, so Supreme Court has the judgment was in favor of the industry on the following grounds. What Supreme Court has clarified is that as long as the services quality has been GST has been collected, so in that context, the definition of own accounts, what is there in the that doesn't apply. So therefore, the GST what is paid on rental, the input has to be provided. And also the Supreme Court clarified as long as there is an output on use of rental, the input has to be provided. Last one is that though the government concerned was that there is a restriction or there is a blockage of the creditor, which is also clarified. As long as the blockage will not be applicable in a scenario when the GST is paid off pending. So this was the rent for us. 8 years is the revision. We had a high court and budget, there's an amendment we made to change the definition of non-conforming. So that is fine. That is introduced for, so that proposal has been done. So at least what we are asking for is that the court has said that the loan account doesn't apply. The GST paid on renting. Therefore, we will seek a clarification that the loan account do not apply. But the restriction is basically what because the Supreme Court also clarified loan account applies the building is being paid for personal use. The building is being constructed, let's say, for example,
Jyoti. Again, congratulations to all of you for an excellent budget, and Mr. Pandey for clarifying on the capex, which as seen your CNBC TV response as well. There's a 17% increase rather than a flat, and we've clarified that again today. Uh, just 2 points. One to you, Mr. Agarwal, and we were discussing this a little earlier this morning on outstanding demands and the ability of the department to clear those. This is a common refrain across companies, individuals, so an effort to really clear the air maybe one time or find a way, whether it's subcontracting it out to make it easier for the tax department to then take a view, might be called for. Sir, to you, Mr. Pandey, I think this whole move on the NAFID infra bonds is brilliant, much needed. I do a lot of work in water and sanitation, and it's been one of our requests indeed. My concern remains the alignment with the RBI on these matters, because we will need RBI to look at the risk weightages they give, because everything you do on the NAFID credit enhancement needs to follow through in terms of outcomes. And the outcome has to be the ability to have these bonds issued at a competitive cost parameter. And if the risk weightages are going up at the RBI level, we're going to end up exactly where we are now. So just to measure the outcomes of a brilliant step on your part.
Sir, Honorable Finance Secretary, I agree with Jyoti, but this budget definitely has your imprint every day. Having interacted with you in your earlier assignment, your ability to think strategically, make decisive decisions, and also implement, and hopefully we'll see the implementation. So my compliments to you. It's an absolutely fantastic work. One observation, one suggestion, and one question. So in policy is as good as its implementation. You are known for making hands-on, you are a hands-on implementer. We have seen whether it is ETA for privatization of Air India or LIC IPO, all the difficult ones. You are so hands-on and you are driving it. I hope the implementation here after the announcement is also taken care of. A request is the way you have gone about working through the income tax, direct and indirect both. Can we expect the same thing in GST? That's a request. And a question is that in your previous assignment, the amount of work you've done on the privatization, so it is well accepted globally. Privatization brings in efficiency. You see example of some of the works that you have done earlier. What is the thinking here? We saw some numbers, credit taken for privatization, also asset monetization. But maybe you may want to highlight how we are thinking of that.
Response and then we can take another.
That's a point well said, ma'am. So I think we need to coordinate with the RBI on that issue of NetFit. Of course, the idea is that some of those not so well rated bonds, if they get the credit enhancement, we could be able to have more activity in bond markets. And NetFit was supposed to be providing all these facilities, and I think NetFit needs to work much harder in terms of fulfilling the vision with which the NetFit was brought out. So your GST point is valid. I believe that there is already a group of ministers that is working under the GST Council to look into rates and other things. GST has been there for some time and we have experience. We also have to move forward in terms of within the reforms. When GST was initially brought in, At that time, I think there was a very big thing is what's going to happen. And the idea was to really retain the revenue and not to get into a revenue situation because states, were the important source of revenue, which was VAT, was involved, and in case of the center, it is the excise, which was involved. And then both had to be merged. The GST brought in a lot of transparency. In the earlier regime, the excise was non-visible. It was a part of the production, so there was no visibility so far as the consumer was concerned. And it was only looking at initially the sales tax and subsequently VAT. So people were only looking at that. So suddenly, there was an initial thing was that, how suddenly a rate of 12% is going to be 28%. But the embedded cost was that actually. Only thing the excise now became visible. So now that, we have got certain experience and this certain thing, it's very also important to see how the things will be taken going forward. But this is one exercise which needs a much more consultative thing with the states together in the council. But certainly, this is a work in progress, and we hope that we are able to carry out, sort of rationalization and others. Rationalization is needed, so there is recognition that it is needed, but exactly how it will be able to translate, what kind of numbers we will be able to arrive at, which kind of rates we will be arrived at, this will be, I think, we will roll out in the report minister's further exercise. Was there any other question? Yeah. Now, I think for some time the privatization, as I said, that we need to understand that we have two levels of when we say share sales. So I would just want to clear out actually, there's a little bit of a confusion also and difference between asset monetization and the rest of it. Asset monetization essentially is a recycling of assets, which means that you have certain assets with cash streams which are worked out. So you are able to separate those assets with cash streams and bring in certain level of investors like unit holders or index holders and try and give them, that particular thing. So upfront money is could be securitization as well. And you raise the money upfront and that use the money to make further assets. Now there are two kinds of entities which are in asset monetization. One type of entity is a listed company. When a listed company does asset monetization, what it really does is, like say Power Grid, if you look today. So Power Grid has its own set of shareholders. Government is only one of them. I think right now there will be about 51 will be government, 49 will be us. Now they are also looking at a return, a dividend or a capital gain out of the shares. When they have a certain transmission line, and they would say, okay, we will put it into the InvIT. Their objective would be that we will put that InvIT, and then so that money, the cash streamers are now out of Power Grid. It goes to another set of unit holders, InvIT holders. And that money which they raise, that can be used for them to build up the new transmission lines without debt, because they've raised the money. So in a way, you build up the assets and you keep on recycling. You have the assets created, you put it on stream, you give out to some people who are interested in, without risk, some cash streams which are there, and then you take and further build it up. So this is one. In there, the money doesn't come back to the government. It's only a money which is rotates within Power Grid. So it is the shareholders' decision there whether it is profitable or not, because any newer asset should have a higher return than the cost of capital. So that is where the other thing. Some of the government agencies like NHAI, etc., they will not be really be listed, so they won't have any other shareholders. For them, when they do the asset monetization, some of it which will also flow to the consolidated fund. And the rest of it is an InvIT, they will again rotate and build up new roads. So that is asset monetization plan. So what we are saying is that asset monetization plan of 10 lakh rupees is getting built, over the next 5 years. So that is what has been announced.
and earlier also, and that will be contributed by various entities, including some of the companies. So this is not really to say that the money will come back to the company, but it is actually spurring an activity, and it is a capital capex activity and the source of financing. Disinvestment is a different story. In disinvestment, we are again distinguishing two routes. One is where we are saying we are trying to list. When something is in the 100% government control, when you list it, you basically disinvest. And disinvest a certain proportion of shares in order to bring in investors. And then you subsequently, after the IPO, you will also gradually dilute it, you will reach minimum